Put him on a table, let him walk around.
No,
All
I'm
right,
not
I'm going to call
calling.
this meeting to order. Mary, would you like to do the invocation for us?
Sure. Everyone bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and thank you for again bringing us together, those of us that are champions of animals and the care and the love of them. I thank you, Lord, that you have also given us the continual opportunity to move forward on our program and the citizens that do come and are a part of it. And we ask that you will also bring other citizens to us as well. I want to ask you, Lord, to give us guidance and give us the ability to communicate and discuss and know that each of us all are vital in this important role. And I want to also ask you, Lord, to give us safe passage as we get home. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, entertaining motion for approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No, the agenda.
The agenda, yeah.
The agenda you can vote. You want to cast your vote?
No.
Okay.
We don't have an
All right.
agenda.
So we're 100% on that. All right. So does anybody want a motion to approve the amendment?
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You probably say.
Gotcha.
That's what I figured.
I was jumping the gun.
Okay, we're going to go straight to recognition of the public. And first on the agenda, but anybody guess? Come on up here, Kathy.
I have handouts this time. I gave up on trying to do that.
Thank you. Great.
Are we ready?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Kathy Garland. I live at 231 Chipaway Drive in Gallatin, Tennessee. I have been speaking in front of you all, so I think you all know me and kind of where I'm coming from, but this time I kind of put together a document on kind of what I wanted to talk about. I know I wasn't here this time. My husband did a great job of filling in for me. So just a couple of things for this particular meeting. Just want to thank animal control for the improvements that we've seen. Pet Finder seems to be up and running, although there are still some animals currently that do not have pictures. But there is a presence there now, and that's an improvement. We've seen some adoption events of late at Tractor Supply, Pet Supply Plus, some various schools, so that also is an improvement that we get animals there. But we do continue to have questions surrounding some of the following issues, and I'll just go down them briefly. Animal cruelty cases, we seem to have gotten a few of those that have been highlighted through our work at Safe Place for Animals. And we're just wanting to have a good understanding of the differentiating between the county's responsibilities for animal cruelty in the cities in terms of what the animal control officers actually do. We also like a little bit around what the sheriff department personnel, what their daily duties include at the shelter. We know we've got the trustees, the inmates that are doing a lot of cleaning and the day-to-day information, but the sheriffs, what are their daily responsibilities in terms of what they are responsible for on a day-to-day basis? That's a lot of salary that goes into those positions. We heard a little bit about volunteer and foster program. We did note that didn't quite spell that right. This was a quick one. National Humane has 3 people that run their foster or their volunteer program, which would include the fosters. So I'm just kind of putting some context around putting together a good program. You do need people to run that. We want to know about vaccinations. Are those actually being done on intake? We were told that they were. And what are the current costs of this? Are we still paying the vet out in Macon County retail rates? when we know we have options to get those vaccines at a cheaper amount. Are these animals being seen by the vet, and how often? We've asked that before, not really gotten any very good answers to that question. And we noticed in last month's reporting that we had some animals that were listed as deceased for other reasons. That would have been in June. And we're curious as to is that something where they came in sick and died in the shelter before the veterinarian got to them, or what were the details around that? What is the current policy on spay neuter, like as of this moment? We did have reports from a concerned citizen that at least one non-spayed female adult dog was adopted out. Curious, and a lot of these things came from other people than just me. I just kind of made notes of them. We're curious why, obviously, Joe Matthews comes, and that's great being on the committee, but we haven't really seen anybody from animal control that comes to these meetings, and we're wondering, if they know about them, and, it would be nice if we had some of their input while we're here. I have been informed that Sumner Spay Neuter Alliance has not been contacted as was promised at the last meeting. That was told to me by somebody involved. We have also heard that the director of National Humane has indicated willingness to take animals on a weekly basis, but they never hear from Sumner County Animal Control. We'd also like to know a little bit about the cost per adoption. How much money is going in? How much is it costing per adopted animal? What does that cost look like? And then the other question is, what is happening with feral cats that are trapped, especially by other jurisdictions? We're hearing that we're not taking in feral cats as a county, but we're understanding is that we're still getting feral cats trapped out of the city of Gallatin and potentially other cities as well. So are those feral cats, I think 8 cat euthanasias were those, quote, feral cats, and I hate that term, because feral cats are a lot of times just cats that are scared out of their mind. So what happens with, quote, feral cats? So in the end, I just want to say clearly, and from many of us out here, what we would like to see happen. We have animal control. We would like animal care operations and funding. Animal care should not flow up through the Sheriff's Department. Animal care should be contracted as a public-private partnership with animal control officers assigned to cruelty and aggressive animals. Day-to-day operations should be an organization, and we should have separation of animal control officer duties and animal care activities, including shelter, veterinary care, and adoption.
Okay, June McMahon, or McMahon, okay.
Like the football player.
I have those 2 T's or an S, McMahon.
If anybody remembers.
Just state your name and address, please.
June Mann, 2160 Scotty Parker Road, Gallatin. Almost into 40, but it's still Gallatin. I saw the agenda online today and didn't have time to really prepare much of anything, but the animal care line really interests me. When we think about animal care and animal control, what does that mean? And I met with Captain McCoy, and he promised me that if I could find some workshops and some webinars online, that he would be sure that the animal control staff saw them. Well, I couldn't find anything on animal care, and I just kept looking and trying to put it in different ways on the search engine. I couldn't find anything on animal care. And I decided that it was probably because it's just too basic. It's common sense. It's just too basic for the national groups to even make a webinar about it. Common sense, things that concern me are animals like the Kathy covered. That's a good list, Kathy. Animals that can be injured or sick. How long are they allowed to live before they see a veterinarian? I don't care whether it's the vet that comes to animal control every once in a while, or if it's another vet. I was told that there's funds for that. So that's animal care. That's common sense. That a sick animal or injured animal goes to see the vet. Things like water bowls and food bowls low enough for puppies to reach, and perhaps that's not a problem anymore. Things like proper food, like kitten chow for kittens, puppy chow for puppies, things like that. Small, putting a small dog in a run next to a large, rambunctious dog. Things that can be done when they're in the shelter that is taken care of. And also, indirectly in animal care would be the intake protocol. And I'm very concerned because I think it takes a plan. An animal comes in, you immediately start making a plan for that dog. Is it a mixed breed that could go to a food rescue? Is it a mixed breed that could go to another rescue? Is there someone on your list that wants that type of dog? Do the Facebook lost and found get checked to see if that dog is in there anywhere? Things like that, just making a plan. And then taking information about the dog or the cat. Does it get along with other cats, kids, dogs get along with cats? Those kind of things, taking the temperature, taking the weight, taking a picture of it. And then being sure that there's information on that animal if someone wants to adopt it. Is it good with kids? How long has it been in the family? Were the kids in the family? Were there other animals in the family? Those kind of things. So I'm also concerned that intake protocol in a proper way would be very helpful for moving dogs and cats out of that. And, if I stagger back in my seat, I'm not drunk. I had eye surgery and I can see. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll close the public comments. Move on to report of the chair. One thing I have to say is I want to make sure that the public understands my position here running the meetings. I've been told that maybe I'm a little too stern looking or look upset, but I want to convey that we're going to run a tight meeting according to Robert's rules, but I also want to let the public know that I'm available to talk to anytime before or after the meeting. Don't misunderstand that. I'm here for the animals. I love animals, and I like people too. So you heard that. I love animals and I like people. But the time for public to comment is during public comments, and then we try to convey the business of this committee after public comments. So that's why we don't refer back to the citizens after public comments as begun. But we hear you, and I don't know where you got your talking points from, but a lot of them are questions that are going to be brought up in this meeting. That's why the agenda was like this. So we must be on the same wavelength or something. But with that, that's all for reporting today. For old business, we have policies and protocols. And I think that was left on there, and one of the other members can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some things that were happening that we were giving more time, Lieutenant Matthews, for the procedures and stuff to be written out, and I think Deputy Chief Craddock had said that they may be ready by now to discuss or show where we're at with that. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, they're still being gone over. Matter of fact, there was a meeting today with Lieutenant Tarlacky, Captain McCoy, and two of the ACO officers that were going over. I'll tell you a little bit so you'll know, and you may be able to go online or pull it up or visit. What's being considered going through all this is the Bedford County Sheriff's Office. That's B-R-E-V-A-R-D, County, C-O-U-N-T-Y, Sheriff's Office. And their SOPs, as they have been operating under. A lot of the things in there meet criteria that we have been discussing, different objectives that our council, not our council, but our person that did our intake, did our evaluation, has recommended, a lot of this is done, from there. So they are going over, like I said, each and every one and incorporated or adding language to it. If it doesn't reflect 100% of what we do, then narrating it to what it does cover what we do. In fact, I got a question for the committee out of that in reference to the drugs that are being used and the preventive treatment stuff of that nature that they had a question on that I wanted to ask the committee when time is right. But they are still working on going through redlining, approving this, and that's good language. And so that they're still in the middle of that.
Do we have a timeline for when?
That's just like I said, they went over, that was a 3-hour looking and the recommendations that's being made through these meetings and stuff, trying to consider those in the whole thing. So it takes a while. Because I want, Chief Paddock said he wanted to get it right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, who's that?
Donald.
Go ahead, Don.
And I really, I have to say something just because it's a necessity. What I was hoping, at least by now, is policies, protocols, and procedures to be already baked, because in my opinion, what I was hoping was we already have this, what's the framework, what are the protocols, each title and their purview and what they are doing under each, and that gives us, as a committee, to have a clear understanding of, like, basically who's on first and what is being done, and because it'll help. We always look at baselines. We want to see growth and change, which that would be extremely helpful, because you see, and then you can actually prove that there has been positive changes, and that would help the department too, because here we were, and here's our evolution, and yes, we understand that these things are ongoing, and then sometimes in the early parts could say, this section is being worked on and to be determined, and based on all the intelligence that we've gathered, we're going to arrive over here. And so then it shows us, there's always baseline, always a baseline, so that where we're going to. And sometimes holding back information for a very prolonged period of time is very difficult, because then we're not understanding foundational framework and the rest of it, which is actually, to Kathy's credit, also in here as well, because it's very nebulous. And so how can we assist as a group? And because I think this has been a great group to help, like, how can we help further along things and maybe expedite, because we're going to provide intelligence too. And that way it's not so siloed. So my hope was at this point in time, we would already had policies, protocols, what are the employees and what are their capabilities, and then we can really have this great discussion of, oh, look at the progress we've made, which we really can't even do at this point. So I'm hoping by the next meeting, we absolutely have.
So if I hear you correctly, what we'd like to see is at least where we are now.
Right, we should have,
Even if it's old,
yeah,
so where we are now, and then the areas that are currently under construction, so that we could have some input on that. Is that something you could convey to Chief Craddock?
Yeah, everything gets relayed to the chief, to the sheriff, upon these meetings. All I can do is ask and present what you'd like. It's up to them to decide what they're going to do. And if I come back to the meeting and I don't have that information, they haven't approved for it to be released, then they haven't approved for it to be released. Well, nothing else I can do but convey the recommendations or the wants, but it's up to them to decide what they're going to do.
I understand, because you can just make it a formal request, but at least see where we're at now with current policies and procedures, and highlight the areas that are under construction. Grace will be given, because I know that there's things that are going to be dependent on the new budget, but it should be easy to see where we've been and what has been changed, because it was dictated that it was changed by Dr. Pisano with new practices and procedures, and there were easy things that didn't cost money to actually save money or whatever. Those should be easy and probably are already done, because you give us quite a list of things that were already implemented. And then, the ones that are to be changed, procedures that may be kind of in flux or hope to be changed, we would like to see that in progress. Tell me the question.
So I was looking up on the county sheriff's department that you pulled those from, to see if I could see their procedures online, and I couldn't. They're not on the website, I don't think. But are those all of the procedures, or there's several? Is that just,
No,
that's just
just-
SOP 1?
Yeah, that's just a small portion in reference to the medication request. And on, what we wanted to see, that a recommendation from the people on this committee, what y'all think, because we got some experience here. Are we gonna write the policy with, like, say, Stronget? And that's gonna be the only medication that we give? Or are we gonna write the policy in reference to Stronget or similar, approved vaccine or deworming? There's different things you do. The name brands, heart brand and stuff, they cost more. There's other brands and stuff that you can get that cost less. But in writing these policies, this particular organization put the name brand stuff in their policy. We felt like that when, or thinking through this, that if you put the name brand, then that limits you at that point, because it's policy, that you have to get the name brand. When there's a lot of veterinarians or other recommendations where you can use this, and it's just as good as that, it just costs $20 less or whatever. That was what they were wanting to ask, get opinions from the committee on what they thought about that. Diane, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, I just looked up briefly, it's really common sense. A lot of what has already been recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by comparing ourselves to all kinds of different counties, like June just said, it's common sense. And again, a veterinary, and I don't know how the sheriff's department works that, because the medication, an animal may not need Stronget. It may need a different type of one of these ones. So, can it just be, we have these certain medications here, and common sense, what that particular animal needs, then that's what would be given, and I thought we were already doing a lot of this.
No, we are. All animals are being vaccinated and coming through. It's just we've got different ones of these that are available. But if we put in a policy that, upon intake, the animal should be given Stronget for.
Yeah, well, I mean, that, again, because not every animal needs.
Right, so we wanted to make sure, like.
Be back to common sense of what, and again, I think if we can all sit together and just pet who comes, let them decide what the animal needs.
As recommended by, medical staff.
Right.
I think the main thing about policies and procedures is they want to see that the animal, for in this instance, is being dewormed. We deworm as needed, or we deworm all animals, whatever. That's the policy. The brand of whatever a medication is, that can change.
You have to.
That's correct. But what we get into, and what we get into for years, we're using this or we're using this. Well, somebody out here said, "Oh, that's not good for that animal. You should be using this." Okay, that's what we're talking about. It's constant. We may appease 5 or 6 or 7 groups that agree on this. Now we've got 2 or 3 groups that, "Oh, no, you don't need to be using that. You should be using this."
But wouldn't it mean your medical person, if nobody else is doing it?
Well, thank you. And that's what we wanted to know. We didn't want to be too specific, but we didn't want to be too vague either. And we wanted to know, like you said, we was leaning towards the recommendation of medical based on animal health. And that could be Stronget, that could be 2 or 3 different ones that we can pick from. But we didn't know if y'all would like it outlined with all those medications, or we was thinking just upon medical recommendation. And this is just reaching out to the committee, just to talk and discuss.
Mr. Janai, go ahead.
So, when you're writing a policy about using medications or even, providing any practice, so I would recommend that when you write your policy, you don't block yourself into a box, that you put, based on the, as you said, the policy will be, these medications will be available and will be screened by the medical provider, and the medicines will be, the medicines available, but not limited to, so that you're not boxing yourself in, because it's kind of like, if I treat your blood pressure, I have a zillion drugs that I can give you, or try, but you're going to use what's best for the person, the patient. So I wouldn't use too many words, but I would say, the animals, for whatever reason you're using the drug, this is based on medications available, approved by the medical provider, which is the veterinarian or the vet tech, I guess, and then, but not limited to. You're never going to please everyone.
Well, language like effective and cost-effective.
Well,
Most
based on
effective
whatever
and
the need is.
cost-effective.
And based on its indication, drugs are indicated for certain disease states. So you can write something that, the department will do its best to administer cost-effective drugs that are indicated for whatever disease and under the care of the veterinarian and to their discretion. So there could be something in that respect, because that is more of a generalized statement, because drugs have indications and they're also generic. And if you can get generics, which are also effective or cost-effective to treat the disease state, then that should be able to cover everything.
But I would also
Yeah, but don't
add,
box them in.
I would also add that it needs to be utilized with best practices. Because that is what you're doing now. You've gone into a best practice program, and that's what you want to add, that terminology, because if
That'll
you
change over time.
change over time. And so as, there's an evolution of medications and things like that. So back to what I was saying, never put yourself in a box, but always say, the medications for you know how to write it. I could write it for you.
Right.
No,
Take a
we're on the
minute
same
for-
page.
So
Yeah.
back to what I was saying, I think we don't get hung up on things like that. Go ahead and write it how you want and get it to us, and then we'll help go through and not box
So-
you
Well,
guys
that's-
in with
If I
that
may.
stuff. But the procedures and the protocols are more in line with the duties of personnel and things that are expected out of the department with intake to adoption. Go ahead.
I think that this whole conversation needs to go right back to, Team Shelter. I mean, they're here to help us along the way. This question should just be a quick email to them, and they should answer it. This table, we have the experts on shelter care. Why are we even second guessing? Can you not ask them?
It's not, we can ask them, it's not second guessing, it's just as I had pointed out before.
Oh, no, not you, but I mean,
No,
I don't know
we have
anything. I know
knowledge here.
nothing.
Yeah, well, we have some knowledge here at the table, not only Diana, but just in general,
Yeah.
of different things. We have an opinion, the way we would like to do it, like I said, you never quote box yourself in. But we wanted to get the feel, like I said, of the committee, and what y'all felt on this particular time. This particular agency, who has some very good policies, they state what medication. So there's no doubt, we use this, and we use this, and we use this as per our policy, and that, and that's what we do. But when you do that, you limit yourself, cost, like I said, there's other drugs out there that's good, it's just the Strongest versus the Parachute. Yeah. They do the same things, right? This is a little less, than that's gotten a Tractor Supply, but that's what we was getting to. We didn't want to, if we're going to write it specific, then we need to figure that into funding, right? But if we can write it like we would believe we should write it, just like Diane said herself, not boxing yourself in, then that's the way we wanted to do it, but we just, again, want to get y'all's opinion.
Right, well, I want to reel us back in on this one. So, getting to the gist of what we're asking for, policies and procedures, I think you understand that, you know, work in progress, we're wanting kind of what we've been doing, go ahead and fix the things that have already changed, and then the direction of where we're going, that's understandable. If it comes to us a little bit loose, we just want to see that there is a policy and procedures booklet or something, because when you look one up online, citizens can't find one, we can't find one, even if it's an old one that is working, if you can get that to us. I don't want to sit here and try to write policies and procedures tonight. That's not what our job is. One last thing on that?
One last thing I want to say.
Okay.
And now, when you're engaging with Team Shelter, what could be is they might have picked, and that's the only way you're going to do is when you reach out to them, they might have picked a preferred agent to use, because there could be possible safety issues with an old drug that are increasing costs. Now, they can answer that. And when you're doing an evaluation of drugs, sometimes looking at the scope of the drugs to say, are these safety issues increasing medical spend? Because the pharmacy spend would be smaller, but then it ups the cost here. Team Shelter might be able to answer that, and then we might find, oh, there's a cost effectiveness, or they may have contracting to get these drugs cheaper than others. So when you're asking that question, just kind of probe a little and see.
Yeah, you know, that, he's got his opinion, but
Right.
you take this step and this step, they might agree on X, Y, and Z, but they don't agree on B and C.
But the data will tell you whether or not there's a safety issue with an old drug and costs, medical spend can increase because of that.
Again, we're just reaching back out to y'all to be sure y'all are included in some of the things that we're trying to do, and get in the field so I can go back and show the board, or the board, you know, their recommendation was X, Y, and Z. That's what it's, that's what it's.
Well, I mean, in our shelter, we do what is the most cost effective, and no one's died from any of that. So again, a lot of that is just what your veterinarian or your vet tech would say decide. I don't think that needs to be discussed. But the one question I had was, what is being done now? Is vaccines and dewormer and our heartworm tests or
Complete.
like when they come
Yes,
in?
yes, when they come in, everything's done upon, just like we recommended upon entry. All vaccination that the animal needs, the flea treatment, the worm treatment, and then the testing that we needed to test, say for heartworm, for but we got those tests also available. But right now, like I said, it's every animal at the shelter that comes through intake is vaccinated. It's flea.
All are being vaccinated.
All of them.
Rabies and
Yes, well, the
With the
rabies, you gotta be with the vet,
Right.
yes. But everything that we can give, that was recommended by you, Sarah, and some other organizations, it has been done. In order to prevent disease and sickness.
The one last thing I have on this subject is, what's current policy on the spay and neuter?
Speaking of what is currently being done, they are transporting animals to the Franklin location, Franklin, Kentucky location. Upon waiting of appointments, when they have the appointments, just like Sarah or anybody else, when they have the appointments, they let us know. They usually take at least 3 at a time.
Or how many times a week?
Well, actually, it just depends on them. It could be once a week, it could be twice. And the waiting on appointments, right now, it's been 3 weeks because they were so backed up with appointments. So the last animals that we transported up there was 3 weeks ago. Now, this coming week, they could call us, and yes, we've got X, Y, and Z, 3 spots for you, please bring them on up.
So Sally Sue comes in and wants to adopt that dog today,
And
and
it's
it's not spayed or neutered.
they're still,
That dog
they're
allowed
still,
to go out.
yes, they're still going with the deposit, the $25 deposit. And I brought the statistics, or brought some information here reference to that. And the people have been following through and getting animals fixed. I don't know where Sarah's at this particular moment. She was 4 weeks out herself. I don't know where she's at now. That was one of the topics discussed today. And just, I'll tell you, how it was the discussion of, getting back with Miss Sarah, have it going, and then sometimes she may have 2 or 3 cancellations, right? That she won't know until the night before, or sometimes it's that day. And then she would call and say, hey, I've got 3 more space openings, still can you send me down? Before, because of the logistics of it, you know, the animal can't eat beforehand and stuff like that. And the trustees were already there at 8, by the time the phone calls got there, and of course they can't be fixed because of the day. So, what we came up with today is, with the parent, is a pre-list of animals that could go on there and be treated. So, if Sarah did make that call, and we're back with them and they did make that call, then they would go to the pre-list and say, yes, chocolate lab, Rocky, and the girl dog, Pekingese, and this, they can go. So I think they worked the logistics out on that, and with the trustees at the time that they're going to be coming over, in order to feed the animals and stuff like that, to try to coincide with her operation hours over there.
So currently, none have been taken over to Sumner County.
That's correct. No, they haven't got a final.
But it's getting ready to happen? Like, where's the talks at with Dr.
Like I said,
Sarah?
my understanding that Chris has talked with Sarah. I don't know if it's since last meeting or what, because that was discussed, they had talked. And just while we're talking about it, also the National Humane, that they have talked to National Humane, and National Humane has pulled animals. I believe we had some information last meeting that, some that things that they didn't, yeah, they have. And they have pulled animals from us, so I just want to make sure we lay that information out. Where exactly, if they're going to sign the contract and start doing them, I'm hoping soon.
Who?
State moving.
They're not gonna sign a contract.
Some of the state moving.
They're not gonna sign a contract, though.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do. If
She made that clear. So, I was very encouraged back in April, given that timeline, because when I talked to, the Chief Deputy Craddock, the plan was to have, Dr. Sarah as the, main, again, because logistically so close to her, and keeping the Franklin connection as the overflow to be able to get all of them done, 100% easy, no matter what, how many animals there were. And from talking with Dr. Sarah, that was very doable. She was just waiting to be contacted. And then I heard that she hadn't been.
What does that mean, sir?
Yeah, what is it?
under circumstances, she wants my understanding again, this is just in talk from the day, she wants a certain criteria done or met,
With regards to
the animals and stuff, that's not being required by any other animal.
for example,
For them saving the cats before they go over to her location, number 1. She wants every cat shaved. Yes, shaved and checked to see if it's,
prepping them before they get to.
Yeah, if
sure
it's-
the boy or girl.
just to see if they got a spade scar,
Okay.
or if they've been neutered.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, she doesn't require anybody else to do that, but she's requiring us to do that. If you ever mess with cats and know with cats, they usually do that when they're under, medication, before their surgery, but like I said, that is a point of interest, I guess you could say, between, animal control and her own just cats. But,
Is it a point of pushback? Is it, be honest, is that like a pushback?
is it beyond? No, there's things that, like I said, that's where it was, where some of the information sharing between animal control and Miss Sarah's organization wants and things, protocols and stuff like that. So that's what my understanding was still to be worked out, last conversation I had.
Go ahead.
Sarah asked the same thing as us, you know, it's a waste of their resources when a cat or dog or whatever, they want us to be sure, and sometimes you can't be sure, but they want us to be sure that, you know, I don't have a contract with Sarah. Sarah is her own nonprofit. She's not gonna have a contract with anybody, but she works with everybody. And, what we do, like, Sarah will text me at night, I mean, if she has a cancellation, you know, I just tell her, I got this many dogs, this many cats, need to fix. So she puts me on the cancellation list. She'll text me at 10 o'clock at night. So if that text could come to you, and then you could, maybe send it to Lieutenant Tarlackey in the morning, first thing before they feed, then, you know, then you've got opportunity to take that animal. I get a lot of your appointments.
Well, keep in mind, he doesn't work there, so it would have to be
Or good,
contact
yeah.
in there
Yeah.
that would be willing to take a late night text.
But again, it's a text.
It can be done through the email.
Email, whatever, and just, you
We
know,
discussed that
to let
today.
that person know in the morning, hey, don't feed this animal because it's gonna go to the vet.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's how I get a lot of my things, because again, Sarah has a big wait list, and so I just tell her what I got, and then when she has a cancellation, we all of the fast as we can.
Yeah, thousands, like Sarah does thousands and thousands. We're not just talking, she just booked constantly.
I understand that,
And
but I know
her
she's
vet
willing
has
to
to
do
get
that.
paid, yeah, her vet gets paid, so you bring their point of continuance, if you bring Cat in there and start his paid, well, they're still gonna pay the vet, you know, that's an appointment that they had, now they can't because the cat's
Well, I
already.
was asking her, was it
Been opened up, and it's going
what I was just saying, is that a consensus point?
And I
With
think,
you guys, where you're kinda like,
I
we
think
don't wanna set
anything
the
can be
cat
worked
before
out.
it gets there.
I think anything can work out, that's just what, that's all I have to report to you that was discussed today
Okay.
in our meeting. And like I said, the Sarah wasn't at the meeting, so I couldn't answer Sarah anything, but that was the discussion, between, the staff, the lieutenant, and Carl McCoy, Captain McCoy now.
Well, we don't vote on anything in this committee, everybody's aware of that, but I think it's pretty safe to say that it's the will of this body to prefer her to be the main source because of the logistics. So please encourage them to work that out and give us some kind of answer as to where they're at with that next month. I hope to hear that operations are running full bore to her place, because she's willing to take on more. And if there's issues with, why it's not happening, I want that to be known here also, because that seemed to be the crux of the problem with everything on how we got here in the first place, was the breakdown of communication between the sheriff's department and their main source of these spay and neuters. And I don't want it to get to that point again, and we haven't even got it back going again. So if there's problems, this is why I was pushing for a contract before I realized she didn't even want a contract. But then also some sort of oversight or community board such as this, or something that she could go to, you could go to, that's a middle person that has the best interests of the community involved, that could work out these issues. Because otherwise, both people go to their corners and the animals suffer. And so we got to figure that out, and I want honesty from both sides as to why it's not working out and why it's been since April since that conversation was supposed to take place but hasn't yet. If you could, a lot, but if you could.
No, I got it.
Convey that to the sheriff's department, or to, I guess it's now Chief Captain McCoy?
Captain McCoy is.
Taking over, right?
He's a supervisor now over animal control.
Well, if you could convey that
Danny
to.
Hurst retired.
Right, so Captain McCoy and Chief Craddock, if you could convey that to them, that we really would like an answer as to why that's not happening.
And of course, the sheriff has a final say.
Could you have something?
Well, I was wondering what else, do they require other things besides the shaving?
That was one of the topics that was brought up today. And like I said, the rest of it would be a good thing for Sarah and them to get together and talk about and see if they can get it all resolved. I'm not saying there's a bunch of things, I'm just saying that certain things, that being one of the topics, that they was concerned over. And like I said, and it's time, it's also the timing. And I'll take this time, Mr. Chairman, I might be out of order, but to say, I don't know where they are on the budget process. But if they pass the budget and get some more personnel, there's a whole lot more that can be done. And I'll leave it at that.
I understand. Go ahead.
And I said this last time about, I know we were talking about having our own veterinarian or a contracted veterinarian that's 100% working for the county and the county's animals. Because I feel like we keep going around and around the circle and we're not getting to goal. And these animals will need care. And if we don't have if you can't get a contract here and 100% certainty that these animals can get spayed and neutered, so they are even adoptable, because that's the protocol, we should spay and neuter, obviously. So, I mean, and I might be bold enough to say that if there's no equipment on site in our animal control, well, we may have to say, we need a veterinarian at this.
That's not gonna happen.
I mean,
It's not gonna happen.
I'm only just bringing this to
No, I
attention
get it,
because
but we
it seems
talked
like
about
there's
that at
horror
budget
in
time,
this.
and the dollar amount to get a veterinarian
148,000 or something like that.
for low end of veterinarians, and they're short staffed, and to find one that wants to go work for a animal control versus private practice, there's just a shortage of them that don't want to do that. So you're looking at least $200,000, and you're talking about increasing the budget exponentially. So we took that line item, we split it apart to things that we think we can get done for spay and neuter and for vaccinations, and all of the most important things that this committee brought about that needed to be done could all be done without a contracted vet. So we've already moved past that one.
Question, if we get these other personnel people, can they do, or are they capable of doing spay and neuter? It seems to be Achilles heel.
The spay and neuters is dependent upon relationships. And that's what we're trying to iron out. That was what he was talking about, and that's what I was talking about, and trying to get down to why the relationship hasn't been built back. They have a new relationship that took over from the old relationship in Franklin, but it's not enough, and it's too far away. They're not getting enough done, but they're getting something done. So we got to keep progressing towards this, because this will at least target the goals that this committee set forth in the beginning. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Don't you think, when the budget is passed, if we get those two employees, there'd be more coordination with those people? They'll be able to speak out and contact and do more clerical things like contacting spay and neuter, so, doing a coordinated control.
Those are my hopes, exactly,
Yeah.
that those people can take on more of the job of animal care and planning, and the sheriff's department employees can do more of the enforcement and the pickup and the law enforcement aspects of animal control. So, that's the goal. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Is in plan of care, for me, plan of care, when somebody comes in, or an animal comes in, you have a plan of care. You're gonna do this and this and this. And the plan of care says within this time frame on your plan of care, this is what we're gonna do. And then that's done, it's marked off, and then they see that spay and neuter is still sitting there in the queue. So that, if that is something, I don't know if they're doing that or not, but I think that having the folks that are hopefully gonna be employed could use that kind of model to do a plan of care upon entry and help us a cardiac. These are the people that.
Well, again, that's what the policy and procedures should address, and hopefully we see that in the work in progress section of the policy and procedures. When it comes, this is what they plan to do with those two employees, and this is how it'll change, but until then, this is how it's done now. So that's what we're hoping to see when it comes up. But I know Commissioner Volk's well, I asked him to have something, either answer one way or another by next month, to see where we're at.
What's the time frame? How long is the wait time currently to get a spay and neuter, and if this dog or cat is not being adopted?
From what I understand, from what he said, it's dependent on their schedule in Franklin. There is no set time. They call when they have some to go, and they take them as they can. The more poignant question would probably be, what percentage of animals are getting spayed and neutered? Do you know that?
Chris, Lieutenant Tarlacki had stated, it was last week, I believe it was, I had 8 out of the 14 animals that was on the dice and were fully vaccinated and spayed and neutered, 8 out of 14.
Okay.
And it just depends, like I said, upon availability.
55-60%.
That was on that. You know, they used to have, and like I said, I asked them about that, they were spade and neuter much would travel different areas and stuff. And but then when COVID hit, that messed everything up, and I don't know if they're back up and operational anymore. But that was another way that, to get spade and neuter done, it would be, if somebody, if they have that program available, then we could get the bus up there. Because they're licensed, the vets and everything like that. There's been another program that was suggested, that they was briefly talking about with a group of, this Matt Mahan, I think may know about it, but a group of veterinarians that may cycle through to be able to do, but that may incur, you know, equipment or stuff at the shelter. I don't know, that's just talk here, briefing, as possibilities, but there's more connected to that. You know, if they're willing to do it, that's great, but if we've got to have the medical tools and everything there, then, you know, the initial setup costs would be expensive. Go ahead, Mr. Boyd.
I actually have one question, but what you just said I was interested in. With the new positions, and I do feel like budget will be bringing those forward, the budget as it is stated right now on the draft. I don't see, there's so much stuff going on. I doubt anybody's ever going to talk about what's in the animal control budget. They're not going to move that. There's so much on tap. But with the new employees that are coming on, the 2 part-time, are you going to have job descriptions? I think that would clear up a lot of everybody's.
Yes, there'll be job descriptions, and it's also, the last meeting asked about pay, because David Long had mentioned there's some other costs and stuff. What I asked Chief Paddock about that, and he said the pay looks like to be $20 an hour.
Yeah, I think that's what budget looked at.
Is that what they looked at?
Yeah, that's
Well,
what.
back. So that's what I mentioned to David Long, and he calculated that up and said that benefits on top of that.
No, it's part-time.
It's part-time.
I know.
Well, he said his
part-time
Oh,
benefits.
yeah, I
Security, Medicare, and all
That's
that.
where he thought the calculation may be off, so please check with.
I checked with him, and that's
He's
what,
saying that's gonna work?
that's what he told me.
It'll
Okay.
just be a reduction in those part-time hours to make it fit the number provided, Tim. So
It's like
if,
a 30,
they'll just shrink
hour.
the hours to fit
wasn't
the
it like a
money.
30-hour position or something?
But it'll probably shrink down to 25 by the time
30
that
or
all
35,
happens.
I think.
It's 30, I thought.
They'll just shrink the hours to fit.
Whatever funding's available, they'll make it fit.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, if we could get job descriptions on those included. in
I think
the
that would
policy by
really
next month.
help.
That would help the public a lot to know, answer a lot of these questions.
And then I wanted to ask, one of the things that, I was looking online and stuff, and when you were talking about those vets that travel around, are those relief vets? Is that what it is? Because I've been looking at relief vets, and there is.
Ms. McMahon is shaking her head, and I'll go with her expertise on that.
So, I was speaking to another county, and they were telling me about relief vets that they have, and they told me that we actually have a really good relief vet that lives here in Gallatin, and they charge $500 a day. And I was like, well, what about equipment, like you're saying? And they're like, I don't know, is there a such a thing, or?
Yeah, I was just.
And so I was
That's
interested.
cheap, but that's normal.
Yeah, and, well, without it being on, I'll tell you after when we're all out. And so they were just telling me, and they said that there's like websites to look for relief vets, and I said, well, we need some equipment, how much would that cost? And they said, well, they're kind of like, medics at war, they have a backpack full of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? And anyway, I was going down that research hole, but I'd be glad to find out that you, yeah, because I'm thinking, you know, if we had 2 days a week, $500, if we had somebody dropping by for $500 twice a week, then we're $1,000 a week at $52,000. We're in some good money.
Especially if they got
driving and, yeah. And if they just need some equipment, I mean, if we can invest some equipment. I know some people on the budget committee.
Okay.
But, yeah, they said that websites, Relief Vet, and I can tell you the name of the lady they said that she's quick. They were bragging on her. They said she can just like spay and neuter like crazy. They said they loved it when she came down. That's it.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, Joe, that's in the possibility about even for now, just like texting with people at night. So if she has I mean, 'cause typically she can get me in within a week.
That's what we was doing, that's what we set up for, was discussing today about the email. Email's 24 hours, it goes directly to the, whoever's going to be doing it. Yeah, so, yeah, definitely. That's what we had come up with, and like I said, we just go on in. We've got 2 positions open tomorrow morning. We're supposed to get them to 7:30. And she'll do that, or even that morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, she's done that, we have 3 people to cancel, so she can tell us, and then we would already have that list available, and we're going to get these 3 in order to fill that. Yes, ma'am. That's what we was discussing
Do
today.
they still even do mobile? Do they still do mobile? Clinics? Do they still do mobile?
The bus?
They don't do the bus.
Oh, that's just a no.
No, but I'm saying, anybody else, I mean, they're still mobile.
But release that at $500 a day, as most people, it's $1,000 to $1,500 a day.
I have no idea. I called a lady in another county that runs an animal shelter, and this is what she told me. And so,
Really talking.
All right, we're gonna move on, guys, to, new business.
I still got a report too, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I was asked about the vehicles.
yes,
2
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
2 Ford F-150, 4-door, 4-wheel drive pickup trucks that will have the Rocky Tough campers, like we've got now, put onto the back of them. The trucks that they are doing, we have a full staff now for reference to animal control officers. We've got the 3 officers. We got that last officer on board, Deputy Combs, and Lieutenant Tarlackey, so we have 4. Lieutenant Tarlackey's truck and Deputy Spray's truck, they have lower miles on it than the other 2, so their trucks are going to go to the last 2 deputies, and the new vehicles are going to Lieutenant Tarlackey and Deputy Spray to start with. And then the higher mileage vehicles will be moved out. I'm assuming, what happens when we assume things, but I'm assuming that they would at least keep one of those high mileage trucks as a reserve in case something did happen to one of the trucks, so you could broke down, involved in a car wreck, or whatever the case may be, so they could pull that and it would be used. And depending on the higher mileage of the other one, then it may be auctioned off or whatever, the government surplus. But that's what I assume on the front end. The reason it's 2, we was going to order 1 and did order 1 last year, and Ford canceled all the orders on the police cars, trucks, and everything. So we had that money coming back, so we were scheduled again for this year's to get 1, so that's the reason for the 2.
so,
Yeah, go ahead. I was looking up that
So,
camera top, just to see
and
what you were talking about.
I understand that you have, it was just, I was wondering if we were getting a special animal transportation vehicle, and I talked to Team Shelter, and they had all kinds of,
Right. The ones
I
that
didn't
Hendersonville
know. Yeah,
uses
I've seen those driving around.
We don't recommend them, not saying there's anything wrong with them, but sometimes they have the animals that they put in there, and they may ride around for 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever the case may be. What we do is we've got the open truck, like the bed of the truck, the camper door comes up, and we've got kennels in there. And then when we get an animal, pick an animal up, we try at that point to take the animal to the shelter right there, to limit its time in the truck.
Right.
And with the truck, and it's got the screens on the side of it, the windows bring back, when you're moving, of course, it's got the wind and everything that's coming through, and whether it's cold or whether it's hot, our goal is, once we come in contact with that animal out in the street and take custody of that animal, then we want to get that animal back to the shelter and get it inside the environment as soon as possible. And that's how they operate right now.
and I know that we're way off agenda and we're running out of time, but at some point, I'd like to understand what we, the county, does opposed to the city pieces. When we're driving around, are you driving, you know what I mean, but another day.
Yes, ma'am, I'll have that next week.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the questions I think was asked.
One of the citizens asked that,
Yeah.
about
So I'll have that
city
next-
versus county
I'll have that next
responsibilities, and specifically.
I mean, we can talk about it now, but,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
we can get into that.
Well, policy questions, and they probably know something they could tell you to be the direct answer. And it was specifically towards the feral cats too, in especially Gallatin, what are they doing with them when they're traveling?
Do you have a city person in the next meeting, they're gonna talk about?
That would be great.
City people are always welcome to come if anybody wants to invite them, and then somebody let me know that they're here. We can always suspend the rules to ask a question to them or something like that.
I wouldn't mind entertaining, them joining us, because this is a joint, task that the cities really give us a big lift and
Yeah,
help
I mean, the way
with.
we run the meeting, yeah, it would be fine to ask them questions and have them put input in on agenda items, that's fine. But
And it's one other thing you asked
City of
me,
York, or Gallatin or Hendersonville, probably the biggest two.
Yeah.
Very interesting to hear about.
you had directly asked the question in reference extending that invitation to Lieutenant Tarlackey to come to a meeting. I relayed that back to all administration, because, and this is the answer I got back, because of Lieutenant Tarlackey's other commitments that he does, and of course the time frame he's not going to be available to do so. The sheriff has picked myself as a representative based on my time at Animal Control, 5.5 years, and my time on the county commission. So that's the reason I was asked to come over and be here. Now, Lieutenant Tarlackey wanted me to tell everybody, if he extends an invitation, you're more than welcome to come over to the shelter. He'll meet with you, come in, sit down, talk to you, ask any questions you want to talk about, and then he will personally take you to every aspect of animal control, to give you personal knowledge, being able to see with your own eyes what is happening and going on over there. That's included the whole shelter. There's nothing going to be off limits. That's included the property, the barn, the horse trailers, everything, all the equipment we got. He said he would be more than glad to go over all that with you, so you know that he would extend that invitation because of he can't be here on the other. So I have relayed the message and extended his invitation.
I understand, you're the messenger. I know a few of us have taken him up on that. I've not been down there, but I think a couple of us have gone down there and seen the facility. I'm not.
So can I volunteer to come walk dogs?
Sure.
Okay,
I don't see a problem.
excellent.
Okay, moving on. Foster program, new business.
New business.
Foster program.
The
Form for registration, is that a question?
That will be part of the responsibilities of the new personnel if approved. With the forms, they've got doctors that our consult has forms, offer advice and everything else. What their hoping is, or what their strategy is once we get these two new personnel on, that's when they're going to start these other programs that have been needed, and one of the ladies or men that gets hired will be in charge of it.
Well, first of all, are we doing the foster program right now?
Not right now, no.
Not even when it gets full, we're just telling people now.
Well, you say the foster program, if they are full, and if there's somebody that can take an animal, then yeah, if someone wants to volunteer. Sometimes our guys, we got some of the deputies would like to do it, but
so I guess the scenario, you're full of cats or dogs or both, and somebody comes up, I got this dog, I need to
it's owner surrender.
owner surrender,
owner
or I
surrender.
found it, either one.
Right, they go to if they're full, and even though all owner surrenders, they refer them to the two websites, and we still got that waiting list. Ask Lieutenant Tarlackey specifically about that today.
The two websites of the Friends of groups
Mm-hmm.
that are.
Homebound and the Friends, I've got them here.
So how do you distinguish between the homebound and the Friends?
Well, we give them
versus-
all. We give them all the information we've got. Try here, you can try here. We try to identify why you're giving the dog up, and it's food, just like we talked before. We got food, we can help you with that.
Try to deter this.
Try to find out the reasons why they may be giving the animal up, and see if there's anything we can do to help. But I wanted to tell everybody, asked Lieutenant Tarlackey today, there's currently 30 people on the owner surrender list. They are using the websites and stuff, supposedly, that's what they're telling. And then as they go along and can move these animals or have to assist on them, then that's what they're doing. when they get, opening at the shelter, hey, they'll call us, but yeah, we got that opening now, are you sure, you know, if you wanna do this?
So it's my understanding that the, Friends group and the places that you're referring people to when it's full, anybody that fits in that category, it's my understanding that those were foster groups, correct?
Yes, some of them are on there that can't foster.
So how do they get their names submitted to you, and how do you approve them to
Right now, everything's done through that website.
not hand them over to somebody that's got 300
Yeah,
dogs
yeah,
in their
yeah.
apartment?
Uh,
You know, how do you?
Again, I don't think they're that far advanced in that. There's no, personnel available for, some people recommend home checks. I think some organizations where you go out and inspect the homes and stuff like that, don't have personnel to do that.
So right now, it's just a couple of people that you may
It's
know
just
that are
whoever,
involved
yeah.
people.
Or some of our deputies say, you know, if you get a dog or a cat that needs a home for a little bit, let me know. And, you know, we can farm them out, I say farm them out, but place them like that. But like I said, if we full, we're full, right? And we can't get them placed anywhere, and then at that point we can't. All we can do is direct them to the other agencies that may or may not be able to assist them. But Lieutenant Tarlack wanted me to say that only on times that they are full, that they may not be able to take animals. On the other time, all strays and stuff that he accepts, as long as he's got room to accept them. The cat situation on the kittens, we covered that last week. We had another set of young cats that came in, just to give information. Same thing, they was in need of assistance. They were sick. We spoke with Sarah last time about the process also about this, and she had said last time the proper thing would be euthanized, right? So we told the lady, the young lady, well, I say young lady, she's an older lady that brought it in, well, these are our options, this is what we got to do. She did not want the cats euthanized. So she took the cats back with her, and she was going to check around in other locations to see if anybody could take them.
Were you able to, at that time, I know what the goal is.
Go ahead.
At that time, were you able to refer her to somebody that may be able to take them? We have a list.
The list that we had is the organizations in Sumner County that we're aware of. Yeah, that we were aware of. Yeah, and then we have 2 or 3 individuals that will take them sometimes.
So you have their names?
We have their information to be able to contact them. If that's something they want to do, we can contact the individual and say, hey, we have a young lady here, or older lady, or older man's got these. Are you in a position to be able to do anything?
So who
and
are?
if so, can we give them your number?
Who are they? And I'm not asking names specific. Are they just individuals?
They're individuals.
Good-hearted people that
Right.
you trust them?
If a rescue's not able to do
personally,
anything,
or-
right, if a rescue's not able to do anything, we deal with 26 to 28 different rescues. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. Good for them. Everybody's having a real tough time right now being full. So, you know, we got the rescues that we can call, and the rescues, you know, like I said, they're not available. Then, like I said, other organizations here in Sumner County will give their information, and then, like I said, if the people that we've got that's volunteered that say, hey, you know, you get in the bind, we can call them. What we do, we don't give the number to these people because we want to call the individual first and say, hey, this is what we got. Is it okay for me to give them your number? Right. And they would tell us, God, no, I can't, we're full, or yes, please do tell me, and I'll see if I can help.
So,
and that's what we do.
So do you have enough of those?
No, you never have enough of those.
Okay, so I think that's, in my opinion, is probably where the direction of this question that has been put on the agenda is coming from. In trying to get you more of these, are you going to do some kind of a form?
Yes.
For people to say, I want to be one of those fosters. What do I need to submit to you to show you I'm worthy of taking care of these animals? Are you guys coming up with something like that?
Yes, that would, again,
That part of the policies and procedures?
and that will be part of the new person's job duties.
Well, so that person sounds like they're gonna have to come in with some kind of experience on how to do something like
It's
that.
not that difficult.
But that would be an opinion though. So,
It's still not that difficult.
you guys would direct them what you want.
Right,
They have to work it out.
the forms are simple, and basically what we do is we do, criminal background checks. All right, we don't, somebody that's been accused of abuse or something like that, they don't need to be around animals, that's for sure. But we do a background test on them, and then like the same thing we do on people that with everybody we hire, we go to the neighbors of our people, I guess, imagine, you might not be speaking out of term, but that's something that for us as fosters, that might be a check that they do also, is, well, go out to the neighbors, hey, what's your name, what do you think of it, and stuff like that. That's called a background check, and that's, in all likelihood, like I said, I haven't got a protocol in front of me, but I imagine that's what would be done. Similar to when we hire somebody, it'd be the same type of protocol, because we just want to make sure these people are good.
Okay, so something is coming.
Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So recently, my husband and I found out about a dog that was in foster. And so they had asked us if we would foster to a dog. Well, you know, me, I'm like, sure. So I had to fill out an application. And the application had, you know, of course, our names, and then it had my vet. They called my vet. They screened me with my vet. They screened me, where did I live? Did I have a fence? Did I not have a fence? How many dogs have I had in the last 5 years? And what happened to them? So I had to list all these things, what happened to them. So there was an application, it was pretty thorough. It wasn't hard.
Well,
But
so,
what I'm saying is that I think there could be a lot more fostering going on. Because I've never done that before. So I've always gone to her and gotten a puppy or something, or steal her dog. And so, I mean, I think there's actually a simple way,
and I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think the point of this committee is to know, to ask the question, is there a form? To ask you guys to let us see it, please, so we can show the public that, and to encourage everybody that if there's not, there's going to be. And then if we want to make tweaks to it at that time and suggestions like what you're saying, that's when we talk about doing it and help them out with new current things. And that's great. We got a resource right here to help do that. But I want to stick to the agenda is the question, yes or no, do we have one? If we don't have one tonight, bring it next month, please, and then we talk about next month or something, so we'll make changes. Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I can give you one of our forms. It's basically when we foster, we have people fill out the adoption application, but like foster on child. Same thing, we ask for that, you know, do you have, you know, say that you place that out. And again, what do you offer that person? You know, are you some food, make sure the medical is done, and what's your timeline? And, you know, I mean, you don't have to, again, it's just common sense. June just hit it, it's common sense. You don't have to have all these people, but just promote it on your website and see if, you know, people will come. I'm not crazy about it. They have something else that comes, you know, and then they have to give the animal up right away, and hopefully you have space.
Right.
So it makes it difficult, but, you know, when you have great fosters like over here. But yeah, but typically we, you know, that's what we do. I can give you that form if you're, you know.
Sure, I mean, we'll take anything anybody's got, and that's what we're
I don't want to keep going over this point, but that's great that we've got resources right here they can plug in if that's needed. You guys may already have one or it's already in the works, but if it's needed, can you get that to him this week? And then you can answer the question that we gave you next month and say, yes, I liked her thing, we just changed this and this about it, and we talk about it next month. All this is on here for us to see that they have one. If not, can they get one?
Right.
Who was first?
Well, I just want to speak to the timeline directly on this, if you want to go somewhere else, or,
You know, it's related to,
if you want,
just real quick, Team Shelter, you know, say maybe you can help with that. And do we have a software program, like the software that we have? Because one of the shelters I reached out to said they use Shelter Love as their software. and it does have a foster capabilities. Does our software,
We got a new, I can check that to
if
see.
you could check
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
because
We just got that new software.
What is it called?
Thank you.
What is the software?
Shop management, I think it was.
Shop?
Shop management. They get so much stuff over there.
Go ahead, Commissioner Boyd.
So I wanted to speak to the timeline of the budget.
Shelter management.
Shelter management, that makes more sense. I wanted to speak to the timing of the budget and where we're going with this conversation. The budget will not hit the floor at the earliest, July 29th. However, there's been some other time issues added to it. I do not anticipate we will finish this budget until mid-August. So this you will not be, there's the timing of putting it in the paper and the school board presenting their budget, and then you understand what I'm saying. So we are looking at some time issues. So when we're talking about these two people that are come in, I think that I would join Commissioner Jones in saying that if you had some parameters in place, some applications and ready to jump on this, otherwise you're looking at next spring before, if you're looking at hiring somebody, which I anticipate is going to take a little bit of time, and then if you're thinking they're going to come up and sit on a whole program for you, you're not going to be anywhere until spring. So I just wanted to add to this timeline, please.
It just depends who applies, the level of experience, and.
So I want to give everybody that timeline. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, there's no quick fixes. Not anything's gonna be quick.
One more thing, and I think it's great that you mentioned this individual who could do $500 a day.
No, I was told.
Is that gonna be?
I was just told.
No, I said any information.
Or potentially, if there's 52,000 that can help us along, and if we get closure on that before the budget.
That's
No.
not in the budget.
That is not going to be discussed.
I didn't know.
That is there for an emergency, that they have flex funds in there that they use for different things that maybe they can use
So that's part of
from
the
time to
emergency.
time to get us through tough times or something.
I didn't.
That was all.
They can move, they have control to move from line item to line item,
Okay.
but we're not going to reopen that piece of the budget.
Okay, I didn't know.
So, item number 2, was that kind of discussed in there too, and that's kind of all rolled into one now? Yes.
Yeah, I guess all I'm talking about with the timeline is if we could go ahead and borrow somebody's policies and procedures, and if it is the sheriff's office that you're working with, and have them ready for this person to step into, because we're down the road.
Yeah, we get, like I said, they'll do what they can with the staffing level that they got at this particular point in time.
Yeah. What made you pick Brevard County? Because Brevard County's in Florida.
That would happen to come through Chief Pratt.
Do you know somebody?
I don't know, I don't know.
That's
That was just presented to him, he was going
Fort Lauderdale.
he was going to Williamson County, we started him out with Williamson County, he liked a lot in that. He was told by this, and they sent him this, and he really started to like a lot of things in it, better than the Williamson County. Because what he's trying to do is put forth a policy of SOPs that are gonna be complete, and it's there. There'll be no question.
Something
He's
similar.
yes, he's tried his best to give y'all a complete package is what he's trying to do. And he just thinks that so far, I hate to speak for him, but this is his general conversation, that from what he's seen from these policies, it's fitting our agency pretty well. Like I said, now he may know somebody down there personally, I don't know how he got this, but all I know is this is what they're working on right now.
Okay, next item up is training on animal care for employees. I was asked to put this on the agenda, but I know you don't have anything to say on that. So open the floor for discussion on
I
that.
think that perhaps, it looks like that is over here on these questions. And I really appreciate, I want to say this, I really appreciate the citizens, because we had talked about them presenting questions, and I really appreciate questions because it's engaging and it's actually, there's a lot of precision to it. So I think the animal care is over here, and I think that maybe next month we could go through these concerns, because they're here, we already have them, and then, talk about it, okay? 'Cause there's a lot here, and training for employees, I know he's got, people that they train on a regular basis, and then you got new people perhaps that will be coming on board. I think that, that will help answer some of the folks' questions.
Yeah, the training is, and there's friends, there's a lot of different trainings that will be seminar, type of best practices currently and stuff of that nature. A lot of your organizations put on different conferences and stuff, and that's where the latest trends and latest stuff comes about. And so, what they're doing is planning on sending those officers to more of those events, just for further training.
We got to put animal cruelty colors,
Right.
like when they go out to be able to identify, because they're gonna, I think,
All of our officers are animal certified cruelty officers.
because they have to know about the new, laws concerning, shelter. And
Yes, they've already discussed that.
But, yeah, but like several of the, I've had several calls with, people with animals in adequate shelter, the whole anticipated, issues. And now we have a new, very specific, what is adequate shelter? And,
Right,
and
compared to what we
this
did
not you
before.
all, but Hendersonville said, well, I don't know about that.
That's interesting. And that's what we'll get in next week, about the difference between the counties and the cities.
So, and this is one of the items that I think there were many things I want to talk about on this, but I think to just bring it back to where we're at right now with animal care, we have this checklist that we all discussed back, I believe it was in May, and there is a whole section on, care. And so it says, have staff and trustees watch recommended webinars ongoing, started with fear training. So we have this whole list of animal care here, and we have this whole list of where we're at on achieving these. So I think that we need to just go back to where we're at. If we could get an update, if you could take and update us on where we're at on all of these, I think that would answer a lot of these questions if we circle back to this very extensive list of items and where we're at and where we're going.
Yeah, and if I can reiterate, Mr. Chairman, the sheriff's positioning on this is that it is the recommendation of the consultant, everything, this report that we've got, and if he's got the funding to do so, he wants to do it. Bottom line.
So, some of the things were, according to Chief Craddock, could be done and were being done immediately.
Correct.
Immediate changes. And then some of them were funding based. Are there any of the immediately can be done with or without funding that were left out that have been implemented since that?
Yes, what I can do is, update you completely on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
been
I know
more than 90 days.
there was just a lot of things that were current practices, new accepted practices or whatever that was just not known, that didn't cost any more money, but they were like chemicals and things like that.
We'll update that next week.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yes, sir. And real quick, if I may, I'll leave this for y'all. It's just a fiscal year account of animal control for our sales of animals, and what they feel is sales, adoptions of the animals. They brought in, revenue to the county just from the fees was $14,295. So that comes off the adoption of the animals. Then we had other contributions that come in from citizens and different, areas like that. That was $2,426. So we did have that, some people trying to contribute. And on the animal control refund, was $500, so that's $25 per, so that's 20 animal refunds where they had the spade and neuter done. And so we refunded.
That as of how long ago?
That was in a year, that's 20 that's shown in a year under that program. But what we got documented.
Only 20 people used that voucher?
Well, it wasn't a voucher yet, it was yeah, that's what
We're hoping that goes way up.
it goes way up. Well, we're hoping that
We get
down
down
before that.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Could
there like a follow-up call, do they give the voucher? Is there like an email, hey, we see that you haven't used the voucher?
Oh, yeah,
So there's a follow-up call.
normally these people want to, and they want to, it's just like I said, it's getting the appointment times.
Okay, so they're just, it's just the appointment.
I don't know, 20 in a year, I don't know how much they're wanting to.
No, I'm talking about, that's what I have read is,
And
Oh, that's
that
pretty.
verifies
Okay.
why we want to do it on the
There's
front.
touch point follow-up.
Because we want all of them coming out of there to be fixed.
Done.
right.
That helps our population go down.
And we had it, and we did do that for a while.
Do we know how many references?
All right, guys, I'm having a great time with everybody here.
So, okay.
But I've got, no, I'm supposed to be somewhere at 7 o'clock at another meeting,
Oh, Lord.
so I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Hey, what was this here for? I'm sorry.
Oh,